ago, I actually ended up winning the entire setup, right? Like, so I was taking the class and I was like, I'll get them next year. But I just got my house and I'm doing other stuff. And then
see if it makes sense to change the zoning bylaws that exist today. So right now, he went over that very quickly and said, there's industrial, there's business, and there's residential.
Yep.
There is no bylaw that allows a combination of those to exist. And so there would be these meetings are an effort to see if people want to change something, and if they do, then the planning board and the town council have to vote on it ultimately to change it.
With a rich agricultural heritage and wide variety of active and passive recreational opportunities, East Longmeadow values the preservation of open space and natural resources. So a lot of these words are coming from the Resilient Master Plan, and you'll see that in each introduction slide before your facilitators start to talk through the questions with you. By focusing on compact development within a town center district, the community can continue to protect undeveloped lands and open spaces across town. So think about those particular parcels in town where there may be a green space, things that should still remain a green space, or any sort of natural pathway and walkable area. This first breakout theme focuses on what open space and green amenities are most valued when imagining a more vibrant, welcoming town center. So, as the facilitators have in front of them, there are those 4 or 5 questions that hopefully in these next 20 minutes we can come to some sort of addressing. And then we'll have a recap at the end of those 20 minutes.
how far out are we talking as far as from the center?
There's a map there too.
Like, I know it's there, but to me,
Not the,
that would be my exact.
Maybe
That's going to be for
Rebecca or Tom can answer that a bit better.
Okay.
so the steering committee will, with PVPC's help, put together a bylaw, and then it goes to planning board. And planning board has to sort of vote on it and push it to town, recommend it to town council for approval. And then the council votes. So there's at least two sets of approvals before anything even happens.
You don't need to develop to make it look better.
And this is the issue.
You're
Go to
absolutely
package machinery. That's been vacant for most of my life.
So we don't own
I'm nothing. Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's been
And
for
that's
sale
the whole
for.
thing. That's the whole thing.
But there
The
doesn't
town
seem
only
to be
owns
a
one or two
cohesive
buildings.
idea.
So what we're trying to do is create the atmosphere and the ability for the businesses to actually do this stuff.
First report back from our table in the corner here. There is a consensus that this group would like to see the rail trail expanded northward. With the understanding there's a lot of remediation cleanup to do to make that space safe and welcoming. Beyond that, a lot of praise for the lay fields and some of the streetscape landscaping, planters and pots, but general concerns about safety for pedestrians.
Sure I can. Thank you. So we hit on a few topics. Some of the major issues seems to be additional green space within the center of town. There's concern with walkability. We have walkability now. Make it safe. Again, we mentioned a rail trail expansion northwards. When's it going to happen, basically? If we're doing additional green space, some of the concerns are instead of porta potties, do permanent bathrooms. Maybe a concession stand over in that area. Again, the beautification of what we already have seems to be a big topic. Instead of looking to completely change everything, let's clean up, make what we have better, possibly some type of grant program to encourage businesses to make the business fronts and all nicer and better, so that it just improves what we actually have. And no housing.
So, is there any other group, we're gonna move to the next section, but is there any other group that really wants to share?
I think everyone hit probably the same highlights. The big thing we were, again, the safety and that, and more greenery, and the development of pocket parks, perhaps along the rail trail. We talked about the Little Red Schoolhouse, and down below, where there's a slope, perhaps a natural amphitheater. Also to center field with Leahy Field and that sort of thing. It gets wet, so perhaps better drainage, rebuild some of the structures there, they're old, and generally echoing everyone else, a beautification and safety for walkability.
Great, so we're gonna move on to the next section, which is housing and neighborhood character. So this slide, with a variety of residential zones that strictly permit single-family detached dwellings, East Long Meadow values diversifying the housing stock to meet the needs of all residents. Encouraging different types of housing creates new dwellings that appeal to the broadest range of residents, from young professionals returning from university, to growing families and lifelong residents looking to downsize and age in place. This theme focuses on what housing types are most valued when imagining a more vibrant, welcoming town center. And this particular note under this map, within 1 mile of the Rotary, which is that black hatch mark on that larger map, which is by that table in the front, 58% of the land use, or 1,586 acres across 2,257 parcels, is dedicated to residential use, which is mostly single-family dwellings. So that's just some context for your planning discussion this evening. And yeah, now starts your 20 minutes for the next set of questions with your facilitators.
Okay, so our first question
of housing they want to see in the center of town. And they feel a shift to high-density development is kind of too fast for the center of town, so maybe see more 2 and 3 families to kind of ease transition from single family to higher density development, I would say. But then they also brought up several issues pertaining to traffic and transportation and how it relates to housing. So for example, they want to see more speed bumps on the roads that leads to the rotary in the center of town. They want to see maybe less congestion from traffic. They maybe want to see more ways to make pedestrian and bicycling a lot safer. How do you connect those pathways a lot more to be more extensive? How do you make more sidewalks available for people to use? And going back to the housing aspect, people felt that there should be more housing for people 55 and over. That was kind of a big topic, as well as finding housing that's appropriate for younger people who want to move to town, or maybe finding ways to make housing more available for those who grew up here and not have them leave. So those are kind of the topics that we talked about in this group.
Yep. All right, over here.
Hi everyone. So our table talked about how there might be different housing preferences depending on where the boundaries of the center town district are laid out. So if the center town district, if you're looking north of the Rotary, there's a preference for more residential and low intensity housing north of the Rotary, but then south of the Rotary there was a preference for the medium intensity residential and mixed use buildings, as long as, with the caveat, that there are some design standards in place to dictate what the new buildings are going to look like, and possibly even become in line or look or mimic the historic buildings that are down there. There were some comments about zoning that could allow for more residential on top of retail that already exists. It looks like presently the zoning in the center square allows for office or commercial activities on the second floor, but there's no residential opportunities. And there was a little bit of a conversation about how presently the drive to create single-family homes in some neighborhoods is starting to create weird-looking properties with maybe houses that are out of the same vein as the present housing that's in that neighborhood. And if there was a dedicated space in the Centertown district for more diverse housing options to go up, there would be a preservation of the neighborhood's look and feel, as well as the preservation of the open space outside of the Centertown district.
Okay, our town felt, our table, that there actually are some pockets of apartments up above some stores. Tom, one example is, do you remember? Over the Legion and over Golden Aging. Currently, the majority of the housing in the center area is residential C, which is the smallest square footage, and that the thought was to keep the housing the way it is good for downsizing. There was concern over burdening the school system, and another big concern was how to address the current aging infrastructure in the center, and that it can't support the increase in more dense housing. And again, a common refrain here is traffic mitigation.
So our table really kind of leaned into the mixed use building, really liked the idea of providing space for younger people who are coming back into the town, something that some of our older members of our community might be able to, if they're empty nesters and they want to sell their big home and have someplace to go, that's a really great option. As far as the walkability, there was some talk about the speed humps or speed bumps, and somebody at our table brought up and said, I know because DPW doesn't like the idea of the speed humps, doing a culvert instead. I guess, I don't remember, where did you say that they do that?
STCC.
At Stick? At Stick. So they do that at Stick right now. And it helps with, instead of going over, the plows can easily go over and they don't have to worry about low ride cars hitting it and stuff like that. So that's what we talked about.
What did you teach there?
So our next set of questions are regarding economic growth in the center. With a local tax structure mostly dependent on residential taxes, about 86%, East Long Meadow Valley is establishing a strong local economic base to expand the tax base and in turn stabilize tax rates. Creating a center town district that is more accessible to residents invites more opportunities for business development and employment that is in walking distance to customers, which creates a more stable local economy that can weather economic storms. Within, so looking at this map, within 1 mile of the rotary, 372 acres are in use for business or industrial use. 277 acres are classified as underdeveloped or vacant, which is about 10% of the total area. So this third breakout theme focuses on what business opportunities are most desired in creating a more vibrant, welcoming town center.
Can you clarify that the radius that you're using is not the boundary of the district?
Yes, there is currently no boundary of a district that the steering committee or the town has established. This just reflects 1 mile of a radius from the town center. So just for your, context. So it is not any sort of boundary that has been created.
2 mile diameter.
Sure, but from the center, it is looking at 1 mile here, and then the underlying zoning from that point.
But the center district would not be that big, probably.
Definitely not.
Right.
No.
Alright, so our table started talking about how local businesses are challenged with competition online and online shopping from home, which perhaps is hurting local businesses who are trying to sell the same types of things. Some people believe that East Long Meadow is already very business friendly, and the people already are driven to the center of town just by virtue of the roads and the way they sort of lead them there. And the discussion kind of went back to some of those topics around traffic and how cars already are coming through the center of town quite a bit. Some people really like the bigger shopping plazas that you see at Allen and Cooley or that you see in Enfield, and people prefer going there for some of their shopping. There's a little bit of uncertainty about empty stores. I think everyone at our table recognized that there's a lot of empty storefronts and buildings in the town center today. We're a little unsure of there was not a real consensus on what kind of redevelopment might be best there, but I think a recognition that is something that would probably help. There was the perspective that perhaps even more industrial development in the center town district could be good for the town. So there was the idea of in terms of what would help in the town, a more market type of shopping would perhaps drive something people would enjoy in the center. More community outlets, that the library is a little overburdened today, and places for kids to go for studying, for other kinds of activities. That's not the library would make life in the center of town a little more pleasant.
Over here.
Hello, thank you. My table is wishing they had a different facilitator at this point. Joe's or Whole Foods. Some restaurants and outdoor dining, I think, was something that most of us were interested in. And then we were trying to think of things that we didn't want to see downtown, and that was some more self-storage and or sort of parking of vehicles where they're not supposed to be parked kind of thing. So that's that. Sure.
Hello, everyone. So start off my table in terms of businesses and services we'd like to encourage for local shopping here. We definitely want to see another bank. We echo some of the sentiments. A little mini Trader Joe's would be nice. Some more walkable space with additional parking. One of the common things was visual appearance, like make it look nice and want you to go in to do local shopping there. Some more restaurants, like your small mom and pop shops would be nice. Something like a little Nest gift shop in town would be an additional space or something like that. In terms of a day spa potentially, there was a suggestion for cannabis shop as well. They feel like the town is losing money by not offering cannabis to the town. In terms of conflicting spaces, no large chain grocery stores or no large chain businesses as well. What would we like more in town, or what would attract more businesses to come into town? Some taxes maybe, or less taxes, some parking, accessibility, some financial resources. One of the things we talked about, let's say in Springfield, if you're a new business coming to the area, there's some grants and initiatives that the town could really provide to give them the option of coming here. And then of course the concerns of traffic, safety, and parking will always be an issue.
Great, thank you. So we've arrived at our final topic, which is community connectedness. With so many historical resources located around a unique central landmark, East Long Meadow values the distinct identity of its town center and strengthening its sense of place. Enhancing the cultural resources around the Rotary with more accessible connections and social spaces leads to a center town district that preserves its heritage while fostering greater connectedness within the community core. So again, with the map, it does show the 1 mile radius from the town center. There are 26 properties inventoried on the Mass Historical Commission registry within 1 mile of the rotary. 2 of those are also on the National Register of Historic Places. So this final breakout theme focuses on what social spaces and cultural resources are most valued when imagining a more vibrant, welcoming town center. So after this, just want to, we'll have some final comments, but we'll hear from the last 3 tables. They'll have their opportunities to report back. What will end up happening is all of the notes that the facilitators have taken this evening will be collected, will be synthesized, and for the steering committee and for the town will provide a report back of everything. And we will share that at a future steering committee meeting. But before you talk about this last topic, I just wanted to thank everyone for all of the great conversations that are happening. I counted between Aiden and I, if we do an average, we're about 85 people tonight. I can definitely say that's the largest group I've ever been part of, and I've been doing this for 7 years now. So congratulations to the town for turning out in such a beautiful evening and sharing your comments with us and with the facilitation steering committee. So let's have at it for the next 20 minutes. Thanks, everyone.
All right, let's kick this off. So our table here is Connecting Community. We had some thoughts on creating public spaces to encourage social interaction. Certainly agreed with all the examples, but another one that would suggest a few of them. Concerts with vendors, an opportunity to take the current concert series that we have going on, expand it a little. As most of you probably know, this summer that's going to drastically change over there, so maybe moving it to center field or somewhere towards the center. 21 plus events, beer and wine festivals, things like that to encourage some adult time. Food trucks, those always draw fun, bring people from all over the place. Business open houses with transportation, right? So we always talk about congestion, so whether it's golf carts or buses or something, you can move people around. Encourage more open houses, get the small businesses, and bring people out of behind their computers. Taste of East Long Meadow. I joked, I said, I feel like I used to go to this when I was growing up every year. I don't know if COVID shut them down, but maybe they still happen. I don't know, but a great way to bring everybody into town. Shut the Rotary down or something and just have it there. That should be easy. Tom, you got that? All right, Tom's got it. Bring school events to the center versus on the school properties. I'm not saying everything, but some of the large events, you can bring them so the whole town can come out, get a little more publicity to them. Thank you. Somebody thought it for me, but I appreciate it. Town movie nights, have a movie in the center. Thank you. You crushed it. All right. Wow. And with the departure of that one running store in town, we'll do more activity-based events, maybe some more sponsorship to get people on the rail trail, walking, get them some fresh air. The second piece of this was the previous question. We pretty much answered that with that one. Third one, though, enhance the unique characteristics and the charm of the town. Temporary art events, library outdoor events, like reading, things like that, bring people down to library, those who don't frequent that often. Painting the hydrant-like things. I know they did that a few years ago. I think that was awesome. My kids loved it. They were always searching for them. I think that's a fun little thing our town can do. It's more stuff like that. And then the last one was the historic and cultural resources. There's a lot, obviously, historic homes, as you could, well, not on that slide, but the previous one. And if we could rehab them, I don't know if that's grants or, Tom's got some deep pockets, maybe tap in. Utilize those events for like art showings, community events, etc. So we're always looking for space to do stuff. The senior center's great, but it'd be nice to get out to some new properties and clean them up, make them look nice, and use them for something. So using that historical resource that we already have. So, nice job, table.
Awesome, thank you.
So one of the things that we talked about was an info center, tourism. We have a lot of historical things here in town, and I didn't even know that we had a historical society until I sat here at the table. So just kind of getting that out there and seeing what we have in our town. Doing art fairs, having an art studio, farmers market, entertainment space. Talking about the arts, that's what's going to bring people in. It's not, businesses are great, but bringing people in is going to be art, music, theater. And then as far as preserving and enhancing our unique characteristics, having a really cohesive design and consistency throughout the design, making sure that things are up to the standard that we want as a community. Having plantings, trees and flowers, and encouraging businesses to elevate their aesthetic. And then, doing things like Erin here does the Earth Day, getting our community to be involved in things like that. Yeah. Sorry, it's been a long day. Thank you.
My group was worried about being overlooked here, so don't worry, we got you. We came up with a number of things echoing the other groups, but one of the things that no one has said yet is pickleball courts. And I know we have some at the existing high school, but improved senior center with a fitness center, farmers market, food trucks, has already been said, sculptures and murals on the sides of buildings, and bathrooms again downtown. Some of the things that are going on right now that are connecting people, certainly the rail trail, the summer concert series, July 4th parade and carnival, and more car shows and the ball fields are something else that our group said was good for connecting people. What events and activities would bring you to the center of town? Farmers market, food trucks, concerts, and same thing that the table before us talked about with regard to preserving the unique character around the historical charm. The center would be architectural requirements and maybe some brownstone facades and gable roofs and things like that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. That was great. So 8:05, wow, we pretty much stuck to time. So we are at our closing remarks, and we're going to let the town manager.
Hi everybody, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Tom Christensen, I'm the town manager. I got to give everybody a round of applause again. Sitting in a very warm room for 2 hours talking zoning. No offense to you guys, or our new planning director, Rob Wachilla, is a little difficult to say the least, but I feel the energy in the room was a little bit more positive than our first meeting, so let's build on that. And I don't want to stay up here too long, but I do appreciate how much you care about your town enough to be here and know that we care as much as you do. So thank you again for coming. We'll see you again in August. When's the next one? Do we know yet?
We have a meeting in June to plan a full summer of events and activities that are informal. But we will have a fall community gathering like this to review the results of this meeting. Awesome. And get some more feedback.
Okay, so until then, I bid you adieu. Thank you very much again for coming. Thank you guys, appreciate it. Everybody have a great evening. Thanks.